Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namaha Pankajanabhaya Namaha Pankajamaline Namaha Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangrahe Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Sampadantikam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Name Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschyata Desatarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna everyone and welcome in our ongoing discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam. So yesterday we were discussing on Canto 4 and where we seen about we discussed nearly around chapter 19 where we seen how Prithu Maharaj actually being complained by the citizens, and then he actually tried to kill Mother Earth, and then Mother Earth surrendered him. And at the end, we seen how the learning we get from yesterday that Mother Earth is capable of providing everything to us. So just the only because of the demoniac act, she hide the things. Otherwise, she is capable of providing everything. Even we've seen the Vedic knowledges and everything we get from Mother Earth as well. And then after that, Prithvi Maharaj went to do sacrifice, like 100th sacrifice or Ashwamedha Yajna. And then Indra interrupted that Ashwamedha Yajna, and his son Vijitsava, yeah, he actually bring back the horse from Indra. And then at the end, Prithvi Maharaj got angry and he wanted to kill Indra as well. But Brahma appeared, and Lord Brahma, after appearing, he consolidated both the parties, to Indra as well as to Prithvi Maharaj, and Prithvi Maharaj stopped the sacrifice. And as we discussed that Lord Indra was actually, he was very envious and insecurity of his position. That's why he was trying to interrupt the yajnas. And now, after that, as instruction given by Lord Brahma, Prithvi Maharaj stopped the sacrifice. And after that, as soon as he stopped the sacrifice, Lord Vishnu appeared. So Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, Voktaram Yagatapasham Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So he is actually the benefactor of all the sacrifices. Even whatever sacrifices we do, even toward all the demigods, they actually offer it to Vishnu as well at the end. And that is how. And by seeing the act of Prithvi Maharaj being, stopping the sacrifice, Lord Supreme Vishnu, he got so much, pleased with him, and he appeared. And Lord Vishnu appeared in the place of the sacrificial arena where it was going on. There also he came with Indra. He brought back Indra and came over there. And then as seeing the nature of Prithvi Maharaj, even the Indra's heart got transformed, and he fell in the feet of Prithvi Maharaj for forgiveness. And in fact, anyway, Prithvi Maharaj again incarnation of Lord as well, and he is an empowered incarnation of Lord. Even Indra is also an incarnation of Lord as well, because he is empowered to rule these things. And then both the conflict has been resolved by Brahma, and somehow Brahma he the learning comes from Brahmaji is that no, he resolved with a very proper manner the both team. One who is actually getting envious and angry and insecure, and one of the other one, he is very submissive, very truthful, and very righteous. So many times in our situation also we see how to manage the things, and here Lord Brahma says that the way we can actually manage the two both extreme things and bring it back into one position and to let them work harmoniously. And the learning again comes is that rejection is not preferred when solution is possible. When we sometimes see that, okay, if the person has done some mistake or commit, has some sinful activities, just reject the person. That's not the solution. But if we can find out some resolution, that is much better than rejecting anyone. And then after that, Prithu Maharaj actually forgave uh, Lord Indra. And again, Prithu Maharaj's forgiveness is more greater than the stubbornness of Indra's. And by that, by appearing there, Lord, he asked that, okay, you are actually pleased me by all your sacrifices. Now, please ask for benediction. So that's the Lord's mercy. Whenever he comes, he asks his devotees to actually ask for benedictions. We've seen about Dhruva Maharaj as well. When he did tapasya, Lord appeared, and then Dhruva Maharaj been asked for benediction. Though he said, okay, I'm actually looking for some broken glasses and I've got all the gem now. I do not need any material desire, but still, Lord fulfilled the desire. And he wanted to have a bigger planet. We got it, the Dhruva Loka. Actually, when we see in the fifth canto, there is a great description about the universe in a nice metaphor. We'll go on and try to understand it. And there we'll see how the locusts are being placed one over the other and how they're spread across as well. Right. And then Prithu Maharaj, by seeing Lord, he actually prays. So he asks some benediction through his prayer. And let's try to read it. I'll read the translation. He says, "My dear Lord, you are the best of the demigods. Who can offer benedictions? And why, therefore, should any learned person ask you for benediction meant for living entities bewildered by the modes of nature?" So there is no need to ask any benediction. That's what he's saying. And says, such benedictions are available automatically even in the lives of a living entity suffering in hellish conditions. My dear Lord, you can certainly bestow merging into your existence, but I do not wish to have such a benediction as well. So the merging into effulgence means one of the mukti, that what gyanis they endeavor for merging into Brahman. But that liberation is not very good as well, and that is why uh, Prithu Maharaj is saying that I do not want that liberation as well. And what we speak about these material things, which are anyway temporary. And again, he explained that why there is a need to ask benediction. There is no need to ask, as why Prabhupada writes that we do not ask for miseries, but down the line, we get miseries automatically because of our past karmas and everything. In a similar way, whatever is destined for us to get, or the things that will come up to us as well. So there is no need to ask for those things which are actually about to come. And then anyway, the temporary things, it comes, and then in due course of time it goes as well. But the higher of them is moksha or liberation. And Prithu Maharaj is saying that I do not wish to have the benediction of liberation as well. Right. Normally, when we think about liberations, is basically going ahead of these three modes of nature and merging into Brahman. But that's not a very kind of good liberation, because in that liberation there is no service, and the devotees, they want service of Lord. And when we go to Vaikuntha, there actually we do services. We have discussed about 5 kinds of mukti or liberations, and the last one, which is not being kind of glorified by the devotees, even they do not wish to have this benediction, even all the muktis as well, for to speak about the fifth one, the merging into your effulgence. That's what Prithu Maharaj is saying here. And then he says, very nice verse, he says, Na kamaye natha tadyam kanchina. My dear Lord, I therefore do not wish to have the benediction of merging into your existence, a benediction in which there is no existence of the nectarian beverage of your lotus feet. Means, when we merge into impersonal Brahman, there is no nectar in serving your feet because we don't see anything there. That is basically restraining from work, and we don't find any service there. And however, I want the benediction. Just listen carefully what he wants. Amazing. He says, I want the benediction of at least 1 million years. 1 million years. We have just two, and he is asking for 1 million years. What to do? For thus, I may be able to hear about the glories of your lotus feet from the mouth of your pure devotees. So that is actual benediction, what is seeking for. That what? I need to have so many years, millions of years, so that I can hear Krishna Katha. I can hear Krishna Katha from the mouth of your devotees. That is the benediction what Prithu Maharaj is asking for. And that's a teaching for us as well. That whatever material things we get, it is destined and it will come. As miseries comes, it will come. The happiness will come as well, because this earth is called as dukkhala masaswatam. So dukkhala, it is the place of misery. So miseries will be coming in every here and there, right? And then he's wishing for the association of the devotees from whom he can actually hear Krishna Katha, right? And then that is the benediction we should be also seeking about, that we want to hear more and more and more about Krishna Katha. What happens? We have already discussed it earlier, that whenever we hear Krishna Katha, Krishna resides in our heart, and the lust, anger, greed, and material hankering desires is being washed away by Krishna. And what he says, another there, my dear Lord, you are glorified by the selected verses uttered by great personalities. Such glorification of your lotus feet is just like a saffron particles. When the transcendental vibration from the mouths of the great devotees carries the aroma of the saffron dust of your lotus feet, the forgetful living entity gradually remembers his eternal relationship with you. Devotees thus gradually come to the right conclusion about the value of life. My dear Lord, I therefore do not need any other benediction but the opportunity to hear from the mouth of your pure devotees. Again, he is making it more clear that what happens. What happens when we gradually remembers or hears about Krishna Katha, we remember the relationship or eternal relationship which we have actually forgotten. And very near in from 25th chapter of this canto 4, Narada Muni is going to explain a very nice allegorical story or imaginary story in 4 chapters. We'll hear it, and there also it's actually because we have forgotten the eternal relationship with Krishna. That's why we are suffering here. So in 4 chapters, that analogy is being given by Narada Muni. We'll hear it, and that is what he's saying, Prithu Maharaj, that by hearing Krishna Katha, by associating with the devotees, we actually gradually remember the relationship. What is that? That is, we are a spirit soul, and supreme soul or super soul, he is Lord Krishna. And then we have a loving relationship between these two. Right. So that is the relationship we have forgotten. And that relationship is eternal. But due to the conditions of these 3 modes, we are called as or known as conditioned soul. We have some conditions now because we are hankering for something which is temporary. And in due course of time, that's going to finish as well. But eternal relationship, what we have with Krishna, is unending. We had this relationship earlier, we have it right now, we'll have in the past as well. But the problem is that we have somehow or other entangled in this modes of nature and forgotten the relationship. And that is how, by hearing Krishna Katha, by associating with the devotees, we will be able to establish that relationship again. Narad Muni says in that story, he says that agyata mitra or friend. So we have come here with an unknown friend, that is Krishna. And that relationship will be reviving when we hear about Krishna Katha from pure devotees, and when we associate with it, when we do Krishna Katha, when we do Kirtan, when we chant holy name, we can revive these things. And then he explains, only an animal can give up hearing, right? Then he explains that, no, my dear highly qualified Lord, if one in the association of pure devotees hears even once the glories of your activities, he does not, unless he is nothing but an animal, gives up the association of the devotees, for no intelligent persons would be so careless as to leave their association. The perfection of chanting and hearing about your glories was accepted even by the goddesses of fortune, who desire to hear of your unlimited activities and transcendental glories. So that's the kind of clear message given by Prithu Maharaj, that hearing and chanting about the glories of Lord is the ultimate thing for the human being, right? Has everything we have, but when we add this thing, we understood earlier that, uh, anyway, this family life is required as well for us, but when we add one to that, it becomes a sense. Having a 10 zeros, it's zero. It doesn't make sense unless we put one in front of that. It makes a huge count, right? And then Prithu Maharaj said that, even Mother Lakshmi, she also very eager to hear about your Krishna Katha, and I am actually also willing to serve you, and I want to touch your lotus feet as well. So there might be a slight competition between Mother Lakshmi and me, and I pray to you, please favor me. That's what he's asking. That, so please take a side of me as a devotee rather than your wife, right? And by the service, though the difference between the services are different. Mother Lakshmi is doing service due to Madhurya, and we do service to Lord as a Dashya. So there are differences there, but still, Prithu Maharaj saying that, please favor me when there's a competition become with Mother Lakshmi. And he says, I do not want anything else from you. So please bestow me as you know. And generally, we living entities are under the ignorance of because of this illusionary energy, and we have forgotten our real constitutional position, what we are. So Krishna is Sachidananda Vigraha. Vigraha means his complete supreme form. So when we see the deities, we normally we do not say that deities are the murti or stones, no, but actually they are called Vigraha because they are here in the form of Lord Krishna, Shyam Sundara, and giving us an opportunity to serve them, right? And then the Krishna is Sachidananda, we are also Sachidananda, but there is a difference. The difference is what? We are minute and he is absolute or complete. We are Anu and he is Vibhu. Vibhu means complete, huge, and Anu is very small. So quality wise, we are equal to God, but quantity wise, there's a huge difference. How the difference is, Krishna is present, we understood very well that Krishna is present in each atom, in each living entity as a Paramatma, as a super soul. We as a soul do not know our own self completely, isn't it? We do not remember, forget our past lives, we do not remember what we have actually eaten a day before, right? And we do not know what coming next. So that is our limitation. But Krishna, he not only just know about ourselves, but actually he knows about everyone, about the past, the present, and the future. That is how he is Sachidananda, but in Vibhu, complete, and we are just Anu. We don't know about our what's going to happen next day or after 1 hour as well. right? And that is why he's saying, because of the ignorance of this knowledge, we are desirous of material happiness and in the form of society, friendship, and love and everything. But these benedictions are not worth asking from you. So that's why he asked for the benediction of hearing Krishna Katha from pure devotees. And then by saying this, by the prayers of Prithu Maharaj, Lord actually become very pleased. And then Lord blessed him. He said, okay, it's time for me to go, and you please rule the kingdom very properly. Anyway, Prithu Maharaj ruled the kingdom very properly, and he actually purified his father as well, Anga, sorry, Vena, because Vena was so crooked, and he has stopped all the sacrifices and everything. But Prithu Maharaj re-established everything and with bhakti. And Krishna blessed him that, okay, you may have bhakti of me, and you will have bhakti. And then the Lord departed. Then Prithu Maharaj, after that, the sacrifice arena was a bit out of his kingdom, and Prithu Maharaj come back to his kingdom. When he come back to his kingdom, the citizens, they were actually welcome Prithu Maharaj in a very, very glorious way, and they actually decorated all the kingdom very nicely with so many flowers and garlands, and they welcomed Prithu Maharaj. And then even though the learning is that, no, Prithu Maharaj, though he had in the sacrificial arena, he has made so many sages, the highly qualified brahmanas, and then he met with Lord Brahma, he met with Indra, even he met with Lord Vishnu. Then also there is no pride in him. There was no pride in him. That is the learning. We in conditioned soul, we become puffed up whenever we have something, we achieved something. But there was no pride in Prithu Maharaj. That's a learning for us as well. And then citizens, they glorified the king. And then Maitra Muni narrates more about the Prithu Maharaj ruling the kingdom. And there were more sacrifices arranged where all the citizens, they are being glorified. And then Maitra Muni, sorry, Prithu Maharaj is actually glorifying his citizens, and his words are being there have been 7 qualities of speech being described in that verse, and I'll read that. Actually, Maharaj Pruthu's speech was very beautiful, full of metaphorical language, clearly understandable, and very pleasing to hear. His words were all grave and certain. It appears that when he spoke, he expressed his personal realizations of the absolute truth in order to benefit all who were present. So the quality is what? It is Charu. Charu is beautiful, and then Chitrapadam is flowery, and then Slaksham, very clear. So beautiful, flowery, clear, pleasing, meaningful, and beneficial. So in general, the learning to us is in our daily life that when we speak, we should try to bring these qualities. And because when many times when we speak bad words, or because of our uh, kind of when we do fight, because of bad speeches, there is so many calamities happens. And that is why we should try to control our speech as well. There is a verse comes in nectar of instruction, vacho vegam manasa vegam. So vacho vegam means to we need to control our words as well. And that should be how it should be. If it is good, it's very beautiful, it should be flowery, it should be clearly understandable, it should be pleasing, meaningful, and beneficial. And this, if we practice this, it again helps in our day-to-day life as well. When we speak to anyone and with a very nice words, in a beautiful words, that also makes very sense to other person as well. And that's what Prithu's Maharaj speech was very, very glorious. And then in that sacrifice, in that another sacrifice, or the gathering with the citizens, Prithu Maharaj instruct the citizens. He says, Lord says that, no, Prithu Maharaj, I'm pleased with your attitude, so rule the kingdom properly. And Prithu Maharaj said to the citizens, I am been appointed as a king by Lord's grace. Just imagine, he has got a kingdom, and now he is giving the credit of this kingdom to Lord. So I do not have any quality. However, what I have got is just because of God's grace. And if we think this, basically, we lament, or we just think of getting many things in our life, and we always cry that, okay, I do not have this, I do not have this, I do not have this. But if we think from the other way around, that what we have, and then we can glorify Lord. Okay, whatever I have, it's all because of your grace, right? In this way, he actually uh, says that, no, whatever I have, it's because of all God's grace, and we need to take care of maintaining the varnashram dharma also. And please do your duties to the citizens. He says, please do your duties very nicely and very carefully. And we both are actually accountable to the Supreme Lord. And the service, as a king, as a citizens, we should both be accountable to Supreme Lord, and we should be it's he says it's not just a rule and regulation, but also instructions. He gave instruction about bhakti as well. And he said, people who have some taste towards serving the Lord is the greatest achievement. So in general, barely see in Kali Yuga, it's very difficult for someone to turn the road towards the serving of the lotus feet of Lord. What he says, let's hear it. He says, by the inclination to serve the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, suffering humanity can immediately cleanses the dirt which has accumulated in their minds during innumerable births, like the Ganges water which emanates from the toes of the lotus feet of the Lord. Such a process immediately cleanses the mind, and thus the spiritual or Krishna consciousness gradually increases. So, if we have some inclinations towards serving the Lord takes 10 steps. And we know, if you see, we normally say that, no, we take one step, Lord takes 10 steps, some says 100 steps, some say 1,000 steps. But imagine about the 3 steps of Lord when he came in Vaman Avatar, as Upendra. In 3 steps, just in 2 steps, he could take away all the universe up and down. Third step was remaining there. So just imagine, if we take just one inclination towards serving the Lord's feet, and his lotus feet is so long that actually we can be elevated to the highest planet, or no, the Golok Vrindavan, or we can go back to Godhead and serve him there. And generally, the once we are into the lotus feet of Lord, the hankering for material things is again goes away, and by that, even the knowledge and renunciation manifests by its own. He explains that they saying that when a devotee, the importance of taking shelter to lotus feet, he explains here. He says, when a devotee takes shelter at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is completely cleansed of all misunderstanding or mental speculation, and he manifests renunciation. This is possible only when one is strengthened by the practicing bhakti yoga. Once having taken shelter at the root of the lotus feet of the Lord, a devotee never comes back to this material existence, which is full of threefold miseries. So that is again a very important point to understand, that just taking shelter of Lord lotus feet, the we what we get, the knowledge as well as renunciation. Renunciation, it doesn't mean that we're giving up things. Renunciation means actually giving up the fruits to enjoy the stacks and the in the lotus feet of Krishna. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita as well, in chapter 4, that anyone who knows my transcendental nature of appearance and activities. Whenever by giving up his body, he comes back to my abode. He doesn't live in this material world again. Right? Janma karma chame divyam. It's divyam, it's transcendental. Janma karma, my birth and appearance is divyam. Chame divyam. And yovam yo vedi tattvatah. Tvekta deham punarjanma. Tvekta deham means giving up this body. Punarjanma naiti mamesu Arjuna. Hey Arjuna, that devotee, by giving his body, he doesn't come back to this material world. We get a spiritual body and we go back to the spiritual world. And hence, he said that, rendering devotional service with our mind, body, words, and offering our results. This is what the attributes of devotional service is. And then sacrifice should be offered to Lord, whatever we do. So sacrifice is again the tapasya, and like keeping in in these days, ekadashi brata is again a very sacrifice, is austerity, to fast from grains for a day. And even some devotees, they fast from water as well on ekadashi. And then he said we can surrender to Lord. There is no harm in that. Actually, we get everything by surrendering to him, Lord. And then he advised to the citizens saying that, okay, we should perform bhakti, and that is the topmost thing. And after that, after explaining about the citizens, Prithu Maharaj actually glorified the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, right? And he said that the Brahmanas are actually very elevated and Vaishnavas are very elevated. How? When we give prasad to or when we offer food to Brahmanas, and when they eat, Lord actually eat through them. So the Lord eats through sacrifice. So Lord eats through sacrifice more than the Lord eats through the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. So that's again a duty of our householders to actually invite and serve the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas in our home. Right? And because that, just by serving to the Vaishnavas and Brahmanas, we are serving to the Lord directly. Right? And we already heard earlier that the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas, they go to the houses not for getting any material things, but they actually destroy the knowledge of bhakti to the people of the households. And that is how. And Brahmanas are very much, very much nearer to Lord as well. And that's why Brahmanas has a kind of inclination of devotion towards Lord, and they are generally good in their heart. Because if you see, even the kings, they might have the whole kingdom to rule, but still they used to have their priests or the Brahmanas who actually used to guide them. So Brahmanas doesn't have to do anything with the kingdom. They don't want anything. They anyway were dependent on the kings, whatever the king provides them. But still, they were so glorious that they used to provide the guidance to the king. How can they rule the kingdom? And that is how the elevation of Brahmanas is so high. And however, in this Kali Yuga, it's been degraded, but still, whenever is possible, we should be actually giving some charity and to the Brahmanas, to the Vaishnavas. We should be, it's possible, we can actually serve them in many different ways, right? And by that, and after that, when Prithu Maharaj instructed the whole citizens and glorified the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, the citizens, they come back, in fact, and they praise the back to Prithu Maharaj, and they say thanks and congratulated Prithu Maharaj. That is how we actually end 21 chapter. And I'm thinking, shall we go ahead or stop now? Okay. Okay, then we'll stop here. It's anyway 34. In 6 minutes, we'll be in the half of one of the chapter, and we'll continue tomorrow from here. Any questions? Please do let me know. Any thoughts? Any comments? if there is no comment, then I think it's all good. And so we'll see you tomorrow then at 8 p.m.
Okay. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry for being late.
No problem. That's fine.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.